In the fall of 2022, a series of events unfolded at the local high school in Oakville, causing a chilling series of events that would forever shatter the town's sense of security and innocence. The story revolves around two individuals, Miranda Jarvis, an 18-year-old senior, and Mark Reynolds, a 32-year-old substitute teacher with a mysterious past. Miranda was beloved by her peers and teachers alike, excelling in her studies, particularly English literature, and harboring dreams of becoming a writer. Hello and welcome to our channel. If you are new here, please subscribe and press the bell notification. Mark's arrival, initially a welcome breeze in the sleepy town of Oakville, hit a brewing hurricane. The autumn leaves, turning from vibrant to brittle, mirrored the town's innocence about to shatter. The following months would become a dark saga, a test of human obsession and the fragility of trust. Miranda Jarvis, unlike the newcomer, was Oakville's own. Raised by the reliable Mr. Jarvis, owner of the hardware store, and the caring Mrs. Jarvis, a nurse at the hospital, Miranda lived a life steeped in the town's familiarity. Literature was her escape, offering worlds beyond the single stoplight corner. She devoured stories, weaving her own tales in secret notebooks, capturing the essence of life and the yearnings of a small-town girl with a vast imagination. Little did Miranda know, her quiet world was about to collide with a storm far worse than the one turning the leaves. As Mark's secrets began to unravel, the ink in Miranda's journal would be used to document not just her own dreams, but the chilling reality that had descended upon Oakville. Mark Reynolds found himself looking forward to his advanced English literature class with an intensity that both thrilled and unsettled him. As September gave way to October, Mark's behavior began to change in subtle but significant ways. He started arriving at school earlier, hoping to catch a glimpse of Miranda in the hallways. As his nights were increasingly consumed by thoughts of Miranda, he began to imagine conversations with her, picturing scenarios where they could interact outside of class. In his mind, Miranda understood him in a way no one else had ever had. One evening, while grading papers, Mark stumbled upon a personal essay Miranda had written about her dream to become a writer. Her raw honesty and vulnerability deeply moved him. That night, driven by an impulse he couldn't ignore, Mark took a step he had never considered. He searched for Miranda on social media. Mark's curiosity soon spiraled into obsession. He began to frequent the local library where Miranda volunteered, always under the pretense of browsing through books. But his real motive was to keep an eye on her from a distance. Each visit allowed him to learn more about her interests and routines, fueling his growing fixation. As October drew to a close, Mark's obsession intensified. The once mild curiosity had become an all-consuming preoccupation, and his actions grew more erratic. He was no longer just an observer, but a man on the edge, consumed by a desire to connect with Miranda in ways that went beyond mere admiration. The stage was set for a series of unsettling events, driven by the dark undercurrent of Mark's fixation. His fixation, once innocent, now bordered on the disturbing, threatening to cross into dangerous territory. As he lurked in the shadows of Miranda's world, the lines between admiration and obsession began to blur, setting the scene for what was to come. 2 weeks after the hand-touching incident, Mark's behavior took a more concerning turn when he overheard Miranda talking about a poetry reading at a local bookstore. He attended the event and observed every laugh, thoughtful nod, and whispered comment to her friend. As the event ended, Miranda spotted Mark, and she hesitantly asked if he had enjoyed the reading. Mark, caught off guard, stumbled through a response, his usual eloquence deserting him. Miranda quickly excused herself, visibly uncomfortable as she left with her friends. The situation reached a critical point in early December, when Miranda had been avoiding staying after class and trying to minimize her interactions with Mark. Frustrated and increasingly desperate, Mark made a decision that would irreversibly cross the line. He obtained Miranda's home address using emergency contact information from the school records and drove to her house one evening, parking down the street. When she stepped out to take out the trash, she spotted Mark's car, and she recognized him in fear. She hurried back inside, locking the door behind her. The next day at school, Miranda was absent. When she returned, she looked pale and avoided eye contact with Mark. Unbeknownst to Mark, Miranda had reported the incident to her parents and the school principal. An investigation was quietly launched, but before any action could be taken, the situation took a dramatic and tragic turn. On December 15, 2022, Lucy Jarvis knocked on her daughter's bedroom door, expecting to find her still asleep. Instead, she was met with an empty, undisturbed bed. Panic quickly set in as Lucy and James Jarvis searched their home, calling Miranda's name. Her car was still in the driveway, and her phone was left on her nightstand. There was no sign of forced entry or a note left behind. The town of Oakville was transformed into a hive of activity, with police cars patrolling the streets and search parties organized to comb through nearby woods and parks. Detection Lucy Reeves, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for solving complex cases, took the lead in the Oakville Police Department's investigation. Mark Reynolds was brought in for formal questioning, and his usual composure noticeably shaken. As the questions turned to his relationship with Miranda, Mark's facade began to crack. When confronted with evidence of his presence outside Miranda's house the night before her disappearance, Mark's possession of Miranda's personal item was damning, and he was immediately arrested on suspicion of involvement in Miranda's disappearance. The news of Mark Reynolds' arrest in Oakville sent shockwaves through the community, as parents demanded answers from the school board about how such a person had been allowed to teach their children. Police executed a search warrant on Mark's rented room and discovered a journal filled with rambling entries about Miranda. The evidence painted a chilling picture of Mark's deteriorating mental state and his unhealthy fixation on Miranda. However, there was still no trace of the missing girl. On December 14th, an entry dated December 14th caught Detective Reeves's attention. Mark wrote about a special place where he and Miranda could be together forever, away from the judgmental eyes of the world. Acting on this lead, police conducted a thorough search of abandoned buildings in the area. On December 27th, they found an old, dilapidated cabin deep in the woods outside Oakville. As officers approached the cabin, they noticed signs of recent activity, fresh tire tracks in the mud and a faint smell of smoke from the chimney. With hearts racing, the police team breached the cabin and found evidence of someone living there recently. Food wrappers, a makeshift bed, and several of Miranda's personal items scattered around the room. But there was no sign of Miranda herself. Mark Reynolds remained in custody, stubbornly maintaining his innocence despite the mounting evidence against him. During interrogations, he alternated between proclaiming his love for Miranda and insisting that he was being framed. His erratic behavior led the district attorney to order a psychological evaluation. Volunteers joined the police in searching the woods, hoping to find any trace of Miranda. On December 30th, Lily Thompson came forward with new information. She revealed that she had been withholding crucial details out of fear and misplaced loyalty. Miranda had confided in her about a secret online relationship she had been having with someone she met in a writing forum. This revelation shifted the focus of the investigation, as the police now had to consider the possibility that Miranda's disappearance was connected to this mysterious online figure. As Detective Reeves confronted Mark in another intense interrogation, his carefully constructed facade began to crumble. He began to reveal the full extent of his deception, admitting to creating the online persona months earlier, long before he came to Oakville. He was convicted on multiple charges, including kidnapping, stalking, and child endangerment, and sentenced to 25 years in prison without the possibility of parole. For Miranda and her family, the road to recovery was long and challenging. She underwent extensive therapy to deal with the trauma of her experience, finding solace in writing and eventually turning her story into a powerful memoir that would help other survivors of stalking and abuse. The case of Miranda Jarvis and Mark Reynolds serves as a chilling reminder of the dark undercurrents that can exist beneath the surface of even the most seemingly idyllic communities. So, what do you think of our video? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go, Thanks for watching.